I'd like to call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please take the roll.
Chairman Constable
Here.
Vice Chairman Conradi is absent. Councilman Karissa.
Here.
Councilwoman Mattos. Ms. Bergen. Here. Ms. Rayucci. Mr. Mancini. Mr. O'Dell. Mr. Cabrera.
Here.
The motion is carried. First item on our agenda this evening will be approval of the minutes in the October 17, 2018 meeting.
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Mr. Crullo, we'll write the general manager's report.
Sure. I feel like I haven't seen everybody for almost 2 months, but it's been 2 months. So what I did is, typically what we do in December is we listed the accomplishments that we completed for 2018. I'll point out the ones that I think are more important, and I think everyone's kind of read them. But we did a renewable energy analysis, which I think is going to lead to one of our initiatives in 2019, where hopefully the installation of a solar system will be completed and Providence will be 100% reliant on renewable energy. One that I'm very proud of. Gregg and his team have worked very, very hard on putting that together. We also negotiated the bilateral consent agreement with the Department of Health, negotiated the cost of tax agreement. Something else I'm very proud of is the 0% interest private side lead loan that we have. Engineering and finance are working hand in hand. They're doing an excellent job with that. And we talked about a full-scale and autophosphate pilot program going in place. So any questions on the completed accomplishments? Moving forward into 2019, they're pretty straightforward. I think on the financial side, you shoot down to number 8. We're probably going to be preparing a full rate filing for the first time by the time it gets in, probably in 3 years, just due to the drop in consumption. Another important piece I think affects Larry is we'll complete our AMR conversion of meters and earths in the East Smithfield Water District, which we acquired a couple of years ago. And again, cleaning and lining of the main rehabilitation, 16 miles of main moving forward. And then probably the most exciting item on this list is that solar system that will be hopefully implemented in the town of Johnston. So any questions on the accomplishments?
Ricky, just a quick one, pardon my ignorance on this. ERT stands for?
Encoder Receiver Transmitter. Again, we have what's called a drive-by system where we drive by and get our reads. We do have the ability to get multiple reads in what they call a fixed network system, where the earth stores reads, collects the reads, and then we can download them. So if we want to get daily reads or hourly reads, then that's possible. So it helps us to monitor our consumption.
Thank you.
I think other than that, I talked a little bit about the charities. It's kind of amazing when I looked at this, and it's been a while. I apologize, I got in late last night for vacation, but this group at Providence Water has raised approximately $35,000 in charities. I know we recently worked with Esperanza's Hope in November. I had a friend who actually donated 100 turkeys, and we ended up getting Youth Build Providence, I think, grabbed 20 of them. Esperanza's Hope took 20 turkeys. We dropped off 30 to Juanita Sanchez and 30 to Mount Pleasant High School. I can tell you I'm very, very proud of this organization when it comes to giving back to the community. Other than that, I'd answer any questions anyone may have.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say, please relate to the staff my appreciation for including Clinica Esperanza and the charity. It's an organization that does amazing things, helping people that don't have any health insurance in the neighborhood. So thank you for including me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our privilege. Like I said, $35,000 over the last several years. I think it's a good accomplishment, a great accomplishment for this organization. You're very welcome.
Kirk Ellis wanted to commend you on the different buckets of initiatives that we're looking at. Obviously, the headquarters and some of the other mitigation issues that we were dealing with out of the gate were substantial undertakings. Now I think we're moving more into a rhythm with the things that are really important to us, specifically reducing the cost of our energy and making sure we're as green as possible. Operationally, I think it's just in keeping with what we're trying to do as a public utility. Second, initiatives that we have around public health, specifically around doing our part to provide homeowners with the tools they need and can use to mitigate any exposure to contaminants, I think has been terrific. I'm glad to see it's moving forward in a great direction. I think it sounds like from what you've been reporting back out to the board that the 0% interest loan program has been a success so far. We're trying to figure out a way to manage the demand at this point.
That's a very good way of putting it. We may come forward with some other initiatives on that particular program. I think it's a little bit early for me to get into that with this group right now. It's not that it's a secret. It just requires some approval of the Public Utilities Commission and taking the temperature over there. But we are very, very, very aggressive in order to get this utility in compliance.
Yeah, and that third piece too, I think that the team as a whole has done a great job, which is really focusing on the health of the utility in a holistic sense, both making sure we continue to invest in the capital infrastructure is really important to us, like the cleaning and lining projects that we're doing, inspection of critical infrastructure like the 102, and also modernization of things that maybe didn't exist 10, 15 years ago for us to think about, like cybersecurity. It's great. I met one of the newer IT employees on the way out today when I walked in. I think it's a big focus, but also on our human infrastructure too, building out succession within your management team and also making sure that our workforce, thanks particularly to the encouragement that we've received from Council President Mattos to make sure our workforce reflects the city. I think you've just been making terrific strides in it. I just want to thank you for that work.
You're welcome. And, not to get all sentimental, but it's a team effort, and I can't accomplish what I need to accomplish without this board. I think I've said that publicly. I've said it privately. I went on vacation, I think, second to last day of November, came back today. So I can tell you, we have very capable people that I work with at Peter Pelosi and Gregg Jason, so that succession plan is in place. You should be very, very proud. 2 phone calls that I received on vacation. One was from a council person, and the other was from the mayor of North Providence. So they did a great job. So I'm very proud of Peter and Gregg. But thank you.
Anything additional on general manager's report?
Nope. Sure.
Before we actually move forward to vote on this, I do want to note the finance report that's been included here. One of the things I feel pretty strongly about is the transparency of this board's oversight, and felt that we wanted to make some updates and changes to the financials to give an even more in-depth view as to what's actually going on with the utility's big picture. I think sometimes we see staff, whether it's rainfall or the budget, but actually getting a chance to look at a balance sheet and some cash flow information would be helpful. So I asked that Nancy look at what the best practices were with other major public water utilities, try to pull some of those together. So the packet that you have today is a little bit longer than it will be in the future because it includes both our future proposed financial statements as well as some of the older information. We'll start to retire out some of the older information. I don't think gives us as big a governance perspective that we might need to, and instead keeps us focused on actually where we're performing to our budget on an annual basis. If you have any questions, Nancy is here to address those. And we're happy to meet sidebar separately with you to walk you through those financials. I know it's the first time some of you are seeing financials in this format, and we're happy to walk through that as well.
I just want to say thank you. This format is very helpful.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, may I entertain a motion to approve items 4.1 through 4.4 concurrently?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or questions? All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Moving on to old business item 5, there's no old business to discuss at this time. So we'll move to new business. Ricky, I think you just covered the accomplishments and initiatives, correct?
Yes.
So it'd be redundant to go back over that again. So that moves us to item 6.2, I think one of the brightest points in our year, the Watershed Education Program and Calendar. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So it's my pleasure to be here again once again this time of year to share these calendars with you. I think most of you are aware that it's basically the culmination from our watershed outreach and education program. We've been working with the Northern Rhode Island Conservation District for 25 years. They help us with most of our watershed education outreach efforts. And I think we've had an excellent relationship with them. One of the other highlights of the program is a water festival in May. Ricky and I have had the pleasure of attending that. In the past few years, we get to share some time with the students who've actually put their artistic efforts into these calendars. And we get to present some awards and share some stories about the water protection and water conservation measures with them. So that's a great thing. One of the initiatives that we had, we talked about this year and looking forward to next year is, in addition to including students from the watershed communities, we've also reached out to a school in the city of Providence that will be part of that water festival next year. So that's a great accomplishment, and we look forward to sharing that with them. So again, I'm available for any questions that you may have on this program, and thank you for your support for this program so that we can get our message out in terms of how important it is to protect the source water.
Steve, thanks for coming in tonight and working on this program alongside the rest of the team up there in Scituate. We end up in some really tough negotiations with Scituate and Foster, particularly around tax issues and other things that come up. But I think one of the untold successes up there, which is a direct result of personalities involved, are these watershed education programs. They are the future generation of the first line of defense for the watershed. And I think this type of work is exactly what we should be about supporting. So thank you for your work on this.
If I could just make one comment. Steve's team does an outstanding job working with this group, and I think it's 4 years now. I think we've gone up there and handed out awards. And this past year, Steve and I talked on the way up, and we just felt it was important to push to get the students of Providence an opportunity to get educated, although they may not live on the watershed. And I think they were very receptive, and planning that out was Steve as well as Karissa. And so we're trying to get some Providence students actively involved, and then when they have the festival in May, we're willing to step to the plate and help with transportation. So hopefully that works out this year.
Questions from the board? Moving forward on to, Steve, thank you very much. Onto other business. So a brief reminder that the Providence Water has 2 Christmas parties taking place this week. One for our district treatment plant team on tomorrow from noon to 2, and the second at the Economic Drive, that's here from noon to 2. Before we move into our executive session business, under other business, I do want to address one outstanding issue that perhaps is the elephant in the room for the board. The City of Providence has issued an RFQ, a request for qualifications, for a private operator to manage the operations of Providence Water. This board had no part in reviewing that RFQ prior, nor in its issuance. I think our staff, as part of the city, obviously provide the informational support that they are required to provide accordingly. But at this point in time, there is no position that's being requested of this board. What I would ask Mr. O'Gara that you maybe take the lead on helping us with is, while the city obviously has an interest in pursuing what they need to for the city's bottom line, our interest is squarely on behalf of the ratepayers at this point in time, which of course include many residents in Providence. And our ability to continue to operate this utility in their best interest, I think, is what this board is tasked and focused with. In my limited experience dealing in the financial space, there are certain implications that can arise from these types of conversations, and the formality, especially the formality, which is an RFQ point. Can we can you take on the task of looking into whether or not there are any tax implications or any issues under our existing indenture with regards to the RFQ that's been issued by the city? It's been raised that this could potentially impact our ability to borrow from the State Infrastructure Bank. It could potentially impact our current existing outstanding debt. And I just want to make sure that as the city pursues what the city needs to under the mayor's directive, that this board at least be able to continue to operate and meet the expectations of the ratepayers while also serving the city itself.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board on that? I won't be able to address the RFQ itself. I have asked that the administration send somebody to the next meeting to discuss with us exactly kind of where the administration is heading on this, knowing that we are not in a position to take a position on that, nor do we have, I think, any requirement to do so. I don't think that the city is expecting that of us, but I do think that this board has a duty to be fully informed about that process that the city is undertaking. If there's any objection from the board on that, I'm open to it, but I felt it would be worthwhile. No questions?
No, Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. We should be informed as board members of what is the process and what is the communication that's being distributed out there, so we are better prepared to address any question that can come up to us.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. On a separate matter, you also will eventually be receiving some regular media clips, just with the coverage Providence Water is receiving in the news. I realize oftentimes you'll be reading those stories before we do, since particularly our council members are very on top of things when it comes to the media cycle and what's happening out there. But at least to keep those of us on the public side looped in, so we know what's going on, I think it'll be helpful. Steve, we look forward to reviewing your clip if it ever goes up. Sure. Is there any other business at this point in time this board is concerned with before we move into executive session? For the record, I have to state that Ricky Kulo has been notified in writing that this public body intends to convene an executive session where we discuss personnel matters related to his job performance and compensation, and he has declined to have this conversation take place in open session. If there are no further matters, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session under Rhode Island General Law 42465, Section 1, to discuss personnel matters.
So moved.
Second.
Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Chairman Constable,
Yes.
Councilman Gregg,
Yes.
Councilman Mattos,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Berger,